Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Welcome to Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Joy to the world. We've survived half the week. For what it's worth. I'm your host, Liz.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Mr. Marcus. We're here to bring you the Pinfall podcast as best we can. In these trying fucking times that we're living in today.
Liz is not in a good mood, if it wasn't obvious.
I'm in potentially the worst mood I've ever been in on this podcast.
I think you've been in this
quite a
mood
bit.
before. I remember you being in this bad of a mood before.
I've been in this bad of a mood with you before, but like not all together.
Oh. Cool.
Well, it's easier for you to put me in a bad mood because like we live together. I don't live together with every fucking crisis that comes up in my life on a somehow everything that could go wrong today has gone wrong. So that's fine.
So this is gonna be a fun podcast for anyone watching. This is gonna be real fun.
If anyone knows what to do when you have AirPods that you spent a bajillion and $9 on, but they don't connect and you can't forget the device to reconnect it anymore, you let me know. Just let me know.
You tried Googling it?
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a million reasons why your AirPods wouldn't connect. So I have to find the very specific article that says, here's why your specific AirPods don't connect to anything anymore. Oh, actually, it connects to my phone, which is frustrating. Because that means it's my laptop problem. Which is frustrating.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to dive us into the news, I guess, if you'd even introduce the podcast?
Introduce the podcast.
Okay.
I'm just this close. This fucking close. Just going absolutely apeshit. Or crying on camera, whichever happens first. At this point, who's to fucking say? Welcome to the news. I feel like I had actually... Oh, I have some interesting pieces of information, actually, at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with some less than interesting shit. Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green was apparently supposed to get a new name for her main roster debut. Like, they were throwing potential names around. The name that she almost had to come out to was Victorious.
I think that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah, you know. Somehow she managed to skirt around it. Good for her, I guess. But that could have been absolute trash. Also, I've got like this fucking tiny ass piece of hair trying to make its fucking main roster debut. It's also driving me insane. I also feel like I look like I'm 12.
Oh.
I don't know. I feel like it's like the turtleneck. I feel like I look like the annoying girl at like your family's holiday party. Just like following you around everywhere.
Very exciting.
When I said I'm this close, did you take that as a hint to just make me more upset?
Yeah.
Okay. WWE's filed 2 new trademarks. One is for Kurt Stallion.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is curious.
Why? Wait, why do you think that's curious?
Am I mistaken?
Kurt Stallion's on 205 Live.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He's August Gray's tag partner.
Well, that's an egg on my face. But there's Kurt Stallion, and there's also Joe Gacy.
I want to say he's also on
Which
205 Live.
Which I just think it's kind of funny, because I feel like if I were going to be a professional wrestler, I might avoid Gacy as my last name. Especially one of the first ones, Joe, just because it's very close to John. And then I just think of John Wayne Gacy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to be wrestling John Wayne Gacy.
How do you spell Joe Gacy?
Well, Joe, and then Gacy. Just like John Wayne Gacy.
Gotcha.
No, wouldn't be the move I'd go for. That's for sure.
He's currently signed to NXT. Weird.
He might be like, why is that weird?
We haven't. He hasn't been on at all since we've been watching.
Right, but I mean, Arturo Ruas, I think, has also been signed to NXT, and we just saw him today.
Right. He just signed August 31st. When WWE purchased Evolve.
Oh.
And then on October 7th, he was announced that he had reported for training at the Performance Center, along with 5 other wrestlers from Evolve. So he joined along with Leon Ruff and August Gray.
Oh, okay. Also, just so you know, you're lagging a little bit, which is why my responses might be slow.
I think you are too.
Okay, so. All right, that's interesting. Don't know why I locked my phone. Let's get the less than fun news out of the way before we talk about the fun news. So the WWE is reportedly looking to finally move their Candy Cartwright lawsuit to federal court. The court obtained documents. There's consent forms now. The consent forms were important because if they didn't have those, I don't think that... because I think Matt Riddle has a restraining order on Candy, so I think they had to fill out forms to say, hey, I'm not going to attack her, and she's not going to attack me, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing really new at this point, but this is a good time to talk about Little Orange Ref. Mr. Proud Boy Bigot, Drake Wirtz.
Remember when you used to call him Hot Ref?
I know, what a mistake. I should have known from that first orange spray tan. I should have known.
Never trust someone with a spray tan. A bad spray tan.
Pete Dunne.
I meant more Danny Burch. Pete Dunne, it doesn't look bad. His whole thing's being like a bro, like a bruiserweight. It fits.
I guess it's just like you can look like a bro and not look splotchy and burnt.
But like Danny Burch, Donald Trump.
Also, Danny Burch did not get a spray tan up until Pete Dunne came, and then I think he was just like, I can do that too. It's because if he were next to Oni the whole time, he would just look like an absolute tangerine of a man.
Yeah.
But this is a good time to mention Drake Wirtz is also now involved in it because David Bixenspan reported that Drake Wirtz had emailed Candy Cartwright to cancel her bookings earlier this year. And that email is the same email he was using for a lot of other nefarious stuff. And it's kind of one of those, like, should he have done that? Like, was that something he should have been allowed to do? Was that the right thing to do? Are we just gonna cancel her bookings because she said, hey, Matt Riddle assaulted me? And Drake was like, damn, bitch, punished. Like, yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those red flags. talk about some fun news, though.
Well, I just want to say, in regards to that news, it's kind of good that they're bringing it to the federal court, or any kind of court, rather than just handling it internally like they did with the Velveteen Dream stuff. And by handle it, I mean that with air quotes, because they didn't. But you know the reason why they're bringing it to federal court, and that's because this affects them negatively.
Right. And now I think it's even more interesting that, like, now that Drake Wirtz is kind of involved, it's like,
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's another layer to the cake where they're just like, fuck. However, fun news. Jon Moxley announced that Renee is pregnant in the most Jon Moxley way possible.
Mm-hmm. Kind of breaking news.
Yeah, very big news. Very big news. Jon Moxley just kind of brought it up in a promo. Just, off the cuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which I really respect.
Yeah.
That's fun. Kind of scary to think of Jon Moxley raising a child.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. But that's always good news. I'm glad that she's like getting her time off to finally do that.
Mm-hmm.
But now, speaking of pregnant people, or people who were once pregnant, so we discussed, just like between the two of us, because we watch Ms. and Mrs. We thought, Jesus Christ, it's amazing that the Miz is moving again. How many times can one man move? So there's a reason now, and I think this reason is coupled with the fact that we don't quite know exactly. I mean, like, they made a big deal about how they moved to Los Angeles. They made a big deal about when they moved to Texas. So I believe their trajectory was they moved to Los Angeles, they moved to Texas, they moved back to Los Angeles, and now they've moved again.
Mm-hmm.
The reasoning behind that, and the reason why I feel like they made a significantly smaller deal about it on the TV show this time around, and they're also renting a house, is because apparently they had like a bunch of break-in attempts at their house. They apparently... Oh, wait.
Hmm.
I'm wrong. So they moved this, so I don't know what the fuck went on with that. But the reason they originally moved to Texas was because of all these break-ins, and apparently, like, the Miz bought, like, guns because he was, like, fucking terrified. And it was difficult for him, I guess, because, like, there was cameras on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's only so much hiding you could do of, like, your personal information. But there were, like, these 4 men who tried to break in. And when you're on the road all the time, it's just, like, your wife and your mother-in-law and your daughter. Like, what the fuck do you do?
Yeah. And, I mean, as unfortunate as it sounds, it kind of makes sense since their house and life are on such public display that, like... It's very easy for somebody to watch that and track you down, even though the footage is from, like a year before it's released?
Right. I feel bad for people who, like, move into that house afterwards. Like,
yeah.
If the robbers weren't aware of the sale of the house, like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks. I feel really bad for them. That's got to be a bitch and a half because they've got a ton of shit.
Mm-hmm.
My final piece of news is the fact that the WWE is thinking of moving Raw and SmackDown the Championship Wrestling Center, aka the Performance Center.
Can we have them fix the COVID problem first? Is that possible?
Apparently, it looks like they're not going to be able to find a venue that can handle the Thunderdome aspects in time for the basketball season to start again. So they're moving back.
Did they not plan this out? Did they really think that they would just go back to being on the road?
Well, the thing is, it's like, even now they're saying, like, we're not going back on the road like we used to. It's like...
Just... You're the fucking WWE. Don't go to the Performance Center. Just buy out, like, an entire unused stadium, or theater even. Just get a theater. Like, there's so many possibilities. Yeah.
Like a Coliseum match.
Honestly. Like a Roman Coliseum.
Roman Coliseum?
Yeah. I could see some promos he'd make from that.
Marcus?
Mm-hmm.
Call Vince up. We're making a deal.
With the Romans.
With the Romans. I feel like there's gotta be so many options.
Yeah, there are.
They flew too close to the sun because they got the fucking Thunderdome going and they're so fucking hyped about it and they don't want to lose that. Mm-hmm. But if the Performance Center was able to modify itself to make itself the Championship Wrestling Center with all those fucking TVs, why can't, like, any other place do it?
They have all the LED screens. They just gotta move them from one place to another.
I
mean...
Yeah, I saw that and I was just like... are you fucking kidding me?
There's gotta be some stadiums that are just, like, not used by major sports teams that they can literally just buy out till the end of time.
Like, you're telling me that there is not one single unused right now basketball stadium? Because, I mean, that's basically what this is. Or arena.
Or, like, Little League field.
Yeah. I'm sure Little League Field has the ability to set up all those monitors.
Yeah.
Welcome to matches and promos.
Yeah, we're here, I guess. You want to take us to the first match?
Yeah, I guess I do. So we have Johnny versus Leon Ruff. It's a rematch, baby. And Mr. Drake Wirtz is the man in charge. Which, frankly, you know, the other thing about, like, referees, it's like a judge, right? Like, you're really hoping that if you're going to court, that the judge is unbiased.
I think they're more
and
like
the jury's unbiased.
They're more like the bailiff, I think.
Well, no, because, like, their whole point is, like, to not give special favor to the wrestlers that, like, they want to see win, or something like that. I wouldn't really trust somebody who has such strong allegiances with 8 groups to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner in a wrestling ring.
I don't know. I think Mike Rome and Alicia are the judges.
They have the final say. I've said it once. I'll say it again. I just think Drake Wirtz should go back to fight to the death matches. I'll have my fingers crossed every single fucking time.
Drake Wirtz is a moron, and that's where we can really just end it.
And a neo-Nazi. Anyways. So Johnny throws Leon into the buckle, chops him up in the corner a little bit. Leon comes out of the buckle with, like, the fire of 1,000 fucking angels on his back. Just cuts Johnny down to fucking size, kicks him in the face, avoids him doing his goofy little rope work, which is cool the first time, but when you do it every single time in the same fucking way, it's like, Leon, okay, I get it. You're a fancy little dancer. Johnny tries to suplex Leon, but Leon gets a crucifix hold on him, brings him to the ground, and then kicks Johnny in the head. It was like kind of like a scissor kick too, which was very weird. But very cool. There's a head scissors onto Johnny. Johnny comes out of the ring. Leon dives out onto him and very nearly misses, but his ass cheek grazes Johnny's shoulder, so close enough. There's a clothesline to Leon. And Johnny then lawn darts Leon into one buckle and then picks him up and throws him into the opposite one. Then Damian Priest comes out, and Johnny's fucking just distracted as shit by that. While he's distracted, Leon grabs Johnny by the pants, and we nearly get full Johnny Gargano ass on TV.
Hell yeah.
I saw a lot more of his butt crack than I think I've ever wanted to in my entire life.
No, pull them all the way down. But also...
That's for Candice to see, and Candice alone.
But also, that kind of makes me think, are you not wearing underwear under those?
No, I don't think so.
Huh.
I think you just kind of like let your freak flag fly.
Not even like a cup?
I hope that they wear cups. I know some of them don't. Cameron Grimes specifically does not. Yeah. I've seen also far too much of that man than I've ever wanted to.
Imagine they all don't wear underwear under their like spandex, and neither does Dexter Lumis, but just because nobody else does, even though he wears jeans.
He's just like, it feels right.
I'm just like you guys.
I'm one of you. Be my friend now. I've drawn you a nice picture. So yeah, Leon nearly pantses Johnny Gargano in the middle of the fucking ring, rolls him up. Johnny managed to get free. Leon goes up for a frog splash, but Johnny rolls out of the way. Johnny then super kicks Leon, throws him down to a spine buster, manages a nice little DDT. It's a near fall, but Damian pulls Leon out of the ring and says, "I'm sorry, kid. I gotta do this." Sucker punches the poor dude in order to force the DQ, helps Leon retain the title, and then just gently lifts him away and brings him backstage. Poor Leon.
Yeah. But I think this is a start to a massive push, because he's kind of got that whole I'm redeeming myself mentality. And after that, we had a little promo with Cameron where he's backstage talking to himself about Dexter and the blindfold match, which isn't really a blindfold match. It's a sack on the head match. That's really it. Just talking to himself. Just vibing. After that,
he was into himself in that moment.
After that, we had Dexter Lumis versus Cameron Grimes.
Yes, we did. My sweet, sweet, slithery lad. Oh, how I love him. Sweet little Dexter comes in, does his weird little thing while staring at Cameron. Kind of feels like the cat when she just like does some weird shit while staring at us. Don't care for it. But when it's Dexter, I'm like, I forgive you. So Mr. Referee hands them their blindfolds, or their potato sacks, if you will. Dexter immediately is like, yep, love it. Go into silence. This is where I belong. Cameron, on the other hand, is mad because Dexter first takes way too long to put the blindfold on, and then the referee expects Cameron to put the blindfold on as well as part of the blindfold match.
Mm-hmm. As you would
Cameron
expect.
says, well, I can't see him. Right, and Cameron says, I can't see him. And the referee says, well, yeah, that's the point. Cameron immediately tries to lunge at Dexter, who does not move an inch, misses him. Cameron then flails all the way around the fucking ring, while Dexter stands incredibly, almost frighteningly still. Finally, Cameron manages to back the referee into the corner. When he feels him, Cameron immediately freaks the fuck out, decks the ref, and begins stomping him until the ref is no more. Cameron then takes his mask off because he's feeling so fucking high and mighty, only to realize he has killed the ref. He then dodges Cameron, yep. He then runs at Dexter, who dodges Cameron somehow because he's like a fucking cat. He has like senses. His little whiskers touch Cameron. He's like, fuck. And then Blindfold's still on, decks Cameron in the face. This causes Cameron to accidentally pull Dexter's entire blindfold off. And sweet Dexy baby just starts fucking hitting him, one punch after the other. Just, it is incredible to me how it never looks like he pulls a fucking punch. Yeah. It never does. It looks like he is genuinely clubbing the shit out of Cameron Grimes.
But we never hear any complaints about him being unsafe in the ring.
In fact, we've only heard 1,000,009 compliments about him.
Yeah.
So, there is an elbow to Dexter's head. Cameron tries to run out of the ring, but Dexter just follows him, picks him up as he tries to climb over the barricade, throws him into the timekeeper's area, picks him, and then Grimes manages to skedaddle his little way up and over the larger barricade fence, off into the distance, leaving Dexter Lumis to wait and seethe.
But we never got an ending to that match.
No, we didn't.
I was expecting like them to cut to backstage and like Cameron running from Dexter or something, but no, nothing. Maybe next week.
Like a fight promo.
Maybe next week, like it's just like Cameron's still running.
Do you think that'll be a War Games match?
No, I don't think so. I think if it will be, because War Games is special. I don't think they would do just a simple one-on-one unless it's for a title. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. I mean, I could be wrong. Dexter, I doubt they would go War Games without bringing in Dexter.
I feel like with all the hype he's been receiving lately, like I feel like it seems right.
Yeah. But after that, we had a promo with Damian Priest and William Regal. William Regal's kind of scolding Damian a little bit for getting involved in the match. And Damian's just like, it was just a joke. It was just a joke, okay? And then poor little Leon comes in and was like, oh, I'm just a joke to you? That's it? And Leon's very mad, and now we can't root for anyone but Leon Ruff.
The only one.
Yeah.
He's the only one we have.
He is. He's done nothing wrong. And after that, we had a little vignette. Shotzi is in a little workshop. She's working with some tools. She's mad. She's building her tank again. She's doing it, but she's pissed while doing it. And this promo is just a little announcement for a little takeover event called War Games.
War?
2 wars? Oh God. So that's exciting.
Yeah. I am excited. I'm actually really excited for War Games.
Mm-hmm. Mostly.
And I also. Oh, go on.
I was gonna say I'm mostly excited because we'll be getting the Brand versus Undisputed Era. That'll be awesome. What's that?
I'm like super emotional today, and I don't know why I almost just started crying doing that. Anyways. I don't know, this is like maybe this will spoil it, but Roderick Strong just tweeted a goofy Undisputed Era video of the 4 of them just talking shit to a camera held by Bobby Fish, so we can only see half of his goddamn head. Or potentially a selfie stick that Roddy's holding. I can't tell. However, I'm not going to say what this is about yet because then spoiler. But the caption is, fellas, let's go to war. And I said,
Bella!
I have never supported war in my entire life.
So, Undisputed Era versus Sheamus? Handicap?
Sheamus would still win.
Yeah. But after that, we move on to Candice and Indi versus Kacy and Kayden. Also, real quick, sorry. This is kind of related to the last promo. I meant to say it then, but forgot. They're kind of having Shotzi as the face of War Games, too, since she was kind of what announced War Games.
Oh, here we fucking go.
No. I'm just saying, like, they're really putting her as, like, the front person for NXT and, like, their big events. Like, she was the host of Halloween Havoc, and she's the person announcing War Games.
I mean, to be fair, Halloween Havoc makes sense.
Yeah.
Who else are you going to have do that? But at the same time, I mean, she's a perfect person for using as your face of, like, a company, aside from Rhea. Because if you use both of them in tandem, it's like they don't look like anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no offense to Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green looks like a lot of other people.
But
like, what I'm saying is, like, there's a lot of girls in the WWE that you could probably mistake for one another. They're both very bold people. Like, Shotzi's a very obvious human being.
I mean, so is Io.
Yeah, and he is their fucking championship title holder.
But normally, like, the champion's supposed to be, like, the face of the company, you know? Like, Drew's the face of Raw. Roman's the face of SmackDown.
Right. I don't think that Shotzi is... First of all, Roman is a face of SmackDown. Roman, Bayley, Sasha, and... I don't know. Seth, maybe?
But you just named 3 people who have been most recently champions on SmackDown.
Mark, just get it out of your system now. Get it out of your system now before I have to yell at you.
I also just think it's really cool that they're having, like, a woman as, like, the face of, like, their pay-per-views. Like, they could easily just have Finn or Adam Cole do it. No, they're getting
Right.
Shotzi.
Hey, I'm not saying that you're wrong in that. I'm just saying that, like, Finn's been gone since the last pay-per-view, and Adam's been gone for weeks on end. I don't know how many other people besides Io that they're going to use as the face of anything. I mean, it is cool. I don't know if this completely confirms your theory, but still.
And for those who don't know,
I mean,
my theory is that Shotzi will be the next NXT Women's Champion. We'll take it from Io.
see, if Mark keeps saying this after every single challenger goes up against and loses to Io, sooner or later he might be right. However, but to be fair, I mean, WWE has at least been doing a decent enough job as far as, like, putting women up front, like, as far as, like, Asuka's concerned, as far as Sasha and Bayley are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing a good enough job with that, at least. So, not just NXT, it's just that the good women's wrestling is mainly on NXT.
Becky. When she was around.
God damn it, Seth.
Why did they
Never
have to have
forgiven.
sex?
Curses!
Sinners.
This is what happens when you fornicate.
All right. Anyway, so
This is the only Christian podcast here. Ignore the copious amounts of alcohol that I drink every episode. All right. So we got Kacy, love of my life, and Kacy, love of my life, and Kayden, best friend, potentially her life, versus Candice and the girl that we're supposed to pretend was Ghostface.
I don't know what you're talking about. It was obvious she was Ghostface from the moment she stepped on there.
She must be fucking hanging out with Robinson Cano then, because if her chest got that fucking inflated over the course of a couple weeks and then was suddenly deflated, I think we have a problem.
Listen, Liz.
Called WWE can't fucking write for shit.
Liz, I think it's a little offensive that you're making such a big stink about her stuffing her chest. She's allowed to do what she wants.
I'm gonna set myself on fire on camera.
That'll just get us banned from Twitch.
Well, I begin.
Yeah.
I start talking.
You brought up the whole Ghostface thing.
Yeah, and you brought up the stupid ideas that WWE had, so I guess we're both at fault.
Actually, you brought up Ghostface. Still.
Anyways. Kayden versus Ghostface starts off the match. There's a little tiny whoopsie doopsie leg sub on Indi from Kayden, and Kacy cheers her on from the sidelines. I was like, oh, Kacy, you're so loud for being so small. Kacy gets in, she rolls Indi up. She is then shoved into the ropes. Kayden tags in, hits Indi in the face. Kacy gets back in. Kacy takes Indi's legs out. Kacy takes Indi's legs out while sliding out of the ring. Kayden jumps in to hit Indi, and then we get a little cannonball from Kacy. I love the teamwork. I think that they're such a good tag team. It's really a shame that we actually don't see them that often. Just because, like, from the standpoint of, like, Bayley and Sasha, like, their whole thing was just constant in and out, keeping people in their corner. Kacy and Kayden are really good at, like, just, like, you're in, now you're in, now you're in, now you're in. I'm like, love you both.
And I think having, like, their more jobber wrestlers be, like, a really formidable tag team just shows, like, the level of skill of just their entire women's division and their specifically women's tag team division.
There's certainly no Everrise. Talking to you, Chase Parker, specifically.
Oh, wait.
So
No, Matt Martell. He's the ponytail guy.
yeah, no, I'm talking to Chase Parker.
Oh, okay.
I don't like him. I don't vibe on him. Anyways. So there's a head scissors to Indi from Kacy. Candice gets in. She's drop kicked by Kacy, but she manages to pull off an arm sub on Kacy, and then begins kicking her in the corner before getting Indi back in. Indi whips Kacy around to the buckles. And then does something I guess is called a sidewalk slam. I didn't know that was a thing. Candice gets back in. Candice body slams Kacy. She goes to senton, but Kacy rolls away, tags Kayden. They're God, I'm out of it tonight. Kayden gets in. She's just clotheslining and forearming the shit out of Candice. She knocks Indi off the apron, and then manages to pull off a facebuster on Candice. Indi jumps in and is drop kicked. Kacy pulls Indi down off the apron. Candice dodges Kayden, then suplexes her, quite literally nearly killing her because she landed so far up on her fucking back. And then Indi kicks Kacy. Candice pulls off the wicked stepsister to Kayden, and they win. I guess.
That was like the lamest win of this entire night.
It's just like it is distracted.
Yeah, and like Kacy and Kayden were so dominant like the entire match. Like there's no reason for them to just lose on a roll up.
Yeah, it felt like there should have been something a little more, but it was just like the way that like Indi and Kacy were fighting off the side and Candice like did a less than like stunning move. I was like, all right.
And while we're here on the women's tag match, what is it? Pro Wrestling Illustrated put out the first ever Tag Team 50 ranking. And I'm trying to find because they put out a top 5 on their Twitter, and I'm trying to find what it is. I think I found it. None of these tag teams are in here, but the criteria for it was momentum, wins and losses, chemistry, activity, and it factor. And their top 5 are FTR, Kenny Omega and Adam Page, Golden Role Models, which I believe is Sasha and Bailey. The North, I don't know where they're from, and Street Profits.
Oh, okay.
Shocking that New Day is not above Street Profits.
Oh yeah, that is weird. I don't care for that.
Yeah. Don't know what that's about, but still. Glad Sasha and Bailey, a women tag team, is that high up.
Wait, so was the New Day on that list at all?
They were. I believe so. I didn't look through the entire list. But I also couldn't imagine they're not on it.
Well, I'm just wondering if maybe like they were treating them more as like a stable of sorts.
I think they're still considered a tag team.
I don't know. I don't know what the hard and fast rules were there.
I can't find their whole top 50 right now, but if I do find it, I will update.
I look like I have no hair.
Look like Roman.
It's so goofy because like I was crying so much earlier today because I'm very stressed out. I'm very upset about everything. My eyes are so puffy. I don't look like myself today. Also very stuffed up. Would you like to talk about the most surprising match that we had tonight? I think, in my opinion.
Surprising. Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So this was not talked about very much at all. I didn't see anything. I mean, I was also very distracted today by work, so maybe I wasn't paying enough attention, but I definitely didn't see anything about this. So Arturo Ruas, who spent what I'm sure he's going to consider his most illustrious years, or weeks, fighting in Shane McMahon's Thunder Dungeon. He is now debuting in what seemed like a very, not like a jobber, like it was an Arturo Ruas match. And he is wrestling Kushida.
Also, real quick, I was able to find the top 10 of that top 50 list, and the New Day is number 8, and Kabuki Warriors are number 9.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have Arturo versus Kushida. A lot of grappling. We just a little grapple fest.
Mm-hmm.
Up until Ruas decides that he would like Kushida to be one arm down. Just starts fucking terrorizing the poor dude's arm. I believe it was his left arm, if you're wondering. Just arm sub after arm sub. Kushida manages to kick Ruas in the side. Ruas just does a massive fucking arm takedown on Kushida. Just really starts like kicking it, punching it, doing whatever the fuck he can to maybe break it at some point. There's a standing Kimura to Kushida. Ruas then launches Kushida into the buckle. And then Kushida does the thing he does best, which is like, there's a drop kick, there's a soccer style kick, there's another drop kick, there's a hip toss, and then another drop kick, and somehow Ruas still comes out of it fucking alive. And I was like, God, this man's insane. Kushida then stamps on Ruas's hand. Ruas kicks Kushida in the face. There's the Kimura lock on Ruas. And a bridge brings Kushida to a victory, but I didn't do this a lot of justice because it was a very standard grappling match. I love to see. But it makes me like kind of question like why are we just seeing Arturo like in like a real sense?
Right. It might not have been time, because I mean, who could he have fought besides Kushida? And Kushida was also busy with Dream and Ciampa until now.
That's true.
I don't know if this is going to be a long-term feud, if a feud at all, or if it's just a one-off to kind of introduce Arturo Ruas into NXT, because he was part of the draft to go to Raw, and we never saw him on Raw since the draft.
I wonder why. Which maybe it's for the best because like he wasn't allowed to. I mean, yeah, he wasn't allowed to move up to the main roster, but like I think his moving up to the main roster was just being continually used on Raw Underground.
Right, and then if he stayed on Raw, he would forever be known as somebody from Raw Underground.
Exactly. So like I think was Arturo in a main event recently, or was I imagining that?
Wasn't it Dabakato, or maybe it was Arturo? I don't know.
I know the what's his face dude who wrestled with a torn ACL for 2 months. His name somehow escapes me. He used to be like a bigger name. He's a big dude, long hair.
Oh, Riddick Moss.
Used to wear a white beater. Yeah, Riddick Moss. I don't know if that's who I'm thinking of, but
it might be.
I thought I saw that he was on there. I don't know.
Also, speaking of wrestling with injuries, I'm just remembering something I read earlier, where at I think it was the previous War Games, maybe not the previous one, but during one of the previous War Games, when it was Pete Dunne and Ricochet versus Undisputed Era, Pete Dunne, that entire match was wrestling with a broken foot. And I believe his wife was also going into labor or something at the same time as that, or a pregnant wife at home, something like that.
That woman has been sitting there just being like, are you fucking kidding me?
Let me find the exact tweet, because also didn't realize Ricochet wrestled with Pete Dunne. That's crazy. Okay. Oh yeah. He was wrestling with a broken foot, and his wife was in labor in the UK as he's wrestling wherever this was. Brooklyn, maybe?
That would make sense.
He made it back in time, though.
Oh, she fucking in labor for? Oh my god. Poor thing.
Yeah.
If your husband can wrestle with a broken fucking foot, get on a goddamn cross-continent flight, And make it back before you've given birth.
To be fair, it was probably...
You are God's favorite child.
It was probably like, come in, do like maybe 20 minutes of warm-ups, something like that. Maybe closer to an hour. And then get into the match. And then he just immediately leaves. Because the match is like 20 minutes, give or take.
Also, to be fair, going into labor doesn't mean that you're automatically just like, the baby's coming out.
Yeah.
It just means your water broke.
Right.
And when your water breaks, then you gotta go to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
There have been some people that, like, their water breaks and they're just kind of sitting around like, oh, this is it, I guess. Anyways.
You mean it doesn't just fall out on the spot?
No, weirdly enough. It's not just like, oh, my water broke, and there's the baby. Everyone, this is baby Pete Dunne.
It's sliding down the water slide.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
It's getting away. Everyone after that baby.
We like fucking Battle of the Potemkin. And the
There's the cannons from the battleship are firing down onto the baby.
Oh God, I hope Beth Wilson in History of Film is happy with me today. That's what I gathered from that class.
No, fuck her. I hate her so much.
I hope that she knows that this is happening, just feels a twinge in her heart, like somebody's making fun of film.
Gianni gets that same twinge.
Yeah, but Beth's also like, if only they were watching more DB White. Then they'd know cinema. Oh, Beth. You poor racist shithead. Anyways. Now that we've covered multiple topics in 5 minutes. Alright. There's a promo here, actually.
Yep, there is. Ember and Toni. We can move on.
Fair enough. And so we have Toni and Ember versus Raquel and Dakota.
Before we get into this, I just want to say, and I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat as me, Ember Moon's return has been the most disappointing return I've ever seen in WWE. Like, my God.
I mean, Toni's is not much better.
Right, but Toni was not anywhere near as hyped up as Ember was. Toni was thrown in as like a little, ooh, gotcha, when Ember was being revealed.
True. I feel like that was just like an afterthought almost.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they were like, it's Toni! And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, like, I don't know. Ember was so hyped up. She was on the main roster and everything too. So we expected going into this that Ember would be something really great and a great addition to the NXT women's roster. But she's had some good matches. She's had some shitty storylines. She has not had great writing, and also she's not good at cutting a promo, really.
No, she's not. I mean, again, neither of the two of them are.
And she doesn't even have that much energy in the ring. Like, it feels so forced.
But the thing is like, I don't remember that being Ember's problem before.
Right.
Now it's just like, it feels weird. I don't know. Maybe she fed off of the crowd energy a lot.
Maybe
it's harder to do it like in a weird one. She's in NXT now. It's a different world for her. Mm-hmm. And two, it's like, maybe it's just like having no crowds is like, yeah, some people are better at being in front of people to do stuff, which I don't understand, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. I don't know. Then they also changed up her song to be something different. Not as bad as Keith Lee. That's just a tragedy, but
How have they still... So many people have gotten new fucking walkout songs, and Keith Lee is still sitting on his. And actually, to be fair, I do wonder if that's because I think he has a hand in making it.
he does.
So I don't know if that...
He already recorded his stuff for it.
Oh, I don't know.
He did that weeks ago.
This is when we turn to fucking Naomi's father, because if you watch Total Divas, you will know that Naomi's father actually mixed a version of her Funkadactyl's walkout song with her and forget the other girl's name now, but the two of them.
Or what if we just have Snoop Dogg do it?
And gotta talk to Sasha about that.
Yeah. Sasha's nice.
Well, let's talk about this match and get through it real quick.
Yeah.
This was a long fucking match for a match that I did not really feel invested in.
Yeah.
And so we start with Raquel and Toni in the ring. First, there are forearms to Toni. Raquel immediately tags Dakota in. There's a kick to the face in the corner to Toni. She gets stomped on a little bit. Then there's a headbutt to Dakota and a basement dropkick to her. Dakota goes to kick Toni, but Toni catches her little toesies and sends her face first into the mat. She tags Ember in. There's a team clothesline to Dakota, a kick to the head of Raquel from Ember, and then a team clothesline to Raquel, sending her out of the ring. Raquel then launches Toni into the corner of the ring, punches her in the back a little bit. And when I say that Raquel was sent out of the ring and now we're back in the ring, that's because we did a picture-in-picture commercial break and I didn't pay attention. The fact that I have any notes for any of these matches, honestly, because of where my head's at right now, stunning. I barely took notes for Timothy Thatcher's match, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, boy. I believe myself. Anyways. Where am I? Right. So Toni sends an elbow back to Raquel before putting her into a head scissors. Ember gets in. Ember kicks Raquel. There's forearms to Dakota, sending her off the apron, then a senton and a hard super kick to Raquel. There was connection there. It wasn't pulled. Ember is pulled off of Raquel by Dakota. Raquel stops Ember from running after Dakota ringside, sending a massive little boot to her fucking face. Again, a lot of fucking contact. Raquel then loads Ember back into the ring, drops her face first on the apron first to make a point, and then did the fucking submission hold. I still don't know the name of it. Still have no fucking clue what the fucking name of this move is. One where she like wears the person like a backpack.
Mm-hmm.
But it is fucking fearsome. Also looks like an amazing backstretch, so kind of wouldn't mind if she came over here and did that to me, because I sat on the couch wrong today and I had to take 5 minutes to sit back up. Ember then dodges Raquel, charging at her, sending her from the ring. There's some forearms to Ember. Raquel throws Ember into the corner, gets Dakota in. There's a head scissors to Dakota. Toni gets in, just starts flattening Dakota. There's 3 German suplexes to Dakota, and then a 4th and a bridge, but Raquel breaks the pin up. There's a headbutt to Raquel from Toni, a DDT to Raquel from Ember, a super kick to Ember from Dakota, and then a double clothesline with Toni and Dakota. There's a lot happening in 5 minutes. Then there's a shoulder tackle to Dakota from Toni. Toni headbutts the midsection of Dakota. Raquel takes advantage of a distraction because Ember jumped into the ring to yell at the ref. And Raquel was like, hell yeah, brother. I don't even have to do anything this fucking time. And just slams Toni headfirst into the post. Which was the weirdest distraction, because normally the person slamming the other person into the post, their teammate is the one distracting the ref. Usually that's how that works. But it was the opposite team's teammate distracting the ref. It was very...
Right, yeah.
That was a little bit of a head fuck. I don't know if maybe that's like to sow the seeds of like disharmony because Tony's gonna be like, if it weren't for you, she wouldn't have fucking done it. I don't know. Ember then dives out onto Raquel. Dakota rolls up Ember. No, she doesn't. Ember dives out onto Raquel. I believe Toni rolls up to Dakota. That's how that works. And Toni and Ember win until Candice and not Ghostface come in and attack the two women. They load Ember and Toni back into the ring for Raquel and Dakota to just fucking destroy them. Because it looks like we're getting a hot girl faction plus a Ghostface at TakeOver. War Games.
Yeah.
War Games TakeOver.
I heard that they might do Dakota, Raquel, Candice, and Indi versus Shotzi, Toni, Ember, and Shotzi, Toni, Ember, and someone else.
Um,
I don't remember who. Maybe no, not EO. EO will be busy.
I like that you say she'd be busy. Like she's got a meeting at that time.
Maybe Rhea.
Maybe, unless Aaliyah's making a grand comeback.
Hmm.
Where the fuck is Aaliyah?
Where's Robert Stone too?
I really hope that they come back with a promo where they're just like, we've been scouting the world for the best talents.
I mean, there's something I want to bring up once we get to the main event, but that might be related to this. But I want to save it for when we get there. So after this match, we have Tim Tam Thatch versus Austin Gray, and I'm annoyed with Austin Gray. I am. Not because of who he is. I actually really like what we're going with here as far as story goes. But just one little moment that annoyed me. And it's some random point in the match. What?
Do you want to wait till we get to that point in the match, maybe?
I don't remember what point in the match it was, because it was just random punches that had happened.
Do you want to wait for the promo? Because there's a promo between these two things.
Oh, was it when the brand is pulling up? And
or as I put it in my notes, the clown car arrives, and unsurprisingly, inside of the clown car is a bunch of clowns. That's undisputed or whatever.
it's
How do they do it?
Undisputed.
Is it? How do they do the E? Is it this way or is it like Star Trek?
It's this.
Oh, it's this?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. This?
It's undisputed. Yeah.
Why this?
Because that's an E. If you do it right.
Is this not an E? Oh, I guess I get it because it straightens out your knuckles. Oh, there's a joke I can make, but sometimes your dad watches the podcast, so I'm not gonna.
My mom actually just texted me. She was watching a few seconds earlier. She specifically said, "I've turned into a very handsome young man. Lizzie's gonna have to beat the women away."
Oh, she doesn't need me? You know why you're a handsome young man right now? Because I told you where to get your hair cut that first time.
I need to shower. My hair looks awful, and I need to shave.
Yeah,
so.
I do too. I have to shower. That's why I pulled my hair back, because my hair is disgusting right now. I feel like your mom just has like a sense. She's like, Lizzie's gonna say something horrible. So I'm gonna tune in. Right. So Tam Thatch, God dang it.
How could you?
I'm falling apart, man. I'm falling apart. Tim Tam Thatchy Thatch. Arms and muscles ready for the matchy match. Gotcha. Got it. I got it, boys. Okay. Timothy versus Anthony Austin August Gray Green. What's his name? I don't know.
August Gray.
Wasn't it Austin like 2 days ago?
No. It's been August since he officially came on to 205 Live. When he was first introduced on NXT as Timothy's student, he was Austin Green.
Anyways, there's a belly to back suplex to Anthony Austin August, and then a crossface and a hammerlock to Mr. Gray Green. There's a kick to the ribs and then another suplex right into a submission hold. There's an uppercut on August. Mr. Green gets his pound of flesh up until there's a knee right into August's spine. He manages an arm sub on Thatcher, but Thatcher goes for the ankle lock. August then tries to kick Thatcher in the face multiple times to free himself, then starts punching Thatcher several times over before grabbing Thatcher by the chin, but Thatcher grabs him by the chin, uppercuts him. I don't really know what happens between these two things, but I know that August goes up to the top rope, jumps down onto Timothy. Timothy uppercuts him midair. Then we get an underhook suplex. Gray taps all the way out the moment Timothy tries to sever his silly little head away from his silly little shoulders. And then Tim Tams does what Tim Tams does best, which is ignoring stupid little QAnon words, and decides to further sever the head of Mr. August Green.
Close.
Gray?
Yep.
Never gonna get it. Tim Tam says, here's another lesson for you. Don't challenge someone to a fight when you know you're not gonna win. So Tommaso Ciampa comes out and says, hey, I'm here. And Tim Tam says, and I'm out. Because I heed the lessons I teach.
Also, real quick, a match was actually announced for War Games already. And it's Shotzi versus Candice.
Yeah.
Not like a tag match or anything, just a singles match.
That's what that promo was about.
Oh, I thought that was just her announcing it.
No, that wasn't her announcing it. That was her announcing her match with Candice.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, in theory, it was her announcing it because of the fact that it was the first time we had been talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if she actually specifically said Candice, but I kind of assumed because of the tank.
Right. But where I was annoyed with August Gray, I missed when you got to that point.
I forgot that you had a point. So.
There was one point where they had like a hold on each other or something, and Timothy just starts punching August's abdomen. August no-sells all those punches, like doesn't flinch or anything, and then throws those punches right back at Timothy, and he's selling them. He looks like they hurt. And you would think with the teacher, the very strong, tough, savage, punching you right in the stomach, that you'd feel something.
Listen, I have nothing but nice things to say about Tim Tam, so I agree.
But other than that, I like what they're doing with August Gray. Won't make me watch 205 Live, but still.
I like that also just the clash of like personalities, because his whole thing is like very like 80s like dude, And Tim Tams is a psychopath, which I respect infinitely. Because that's my boy. It's my little boy. My little lad. He's just a little lad. I do like that Tommaso came out and Tim Tams was like, I got no problems with you. And just danced his little butt off stage.
Oh, yeah.
It was also cool to see him kind of scared.
Yeah, I think Ciampa's the perfect opponent for Thatcher. I honestly couldn't think
Both
of it.
psycho.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anybody else who would be a good fit besides Dexter Lumis, but even then I think Ciampa would be better just because one's more communicative than the other.
Also, I think Tommaso's a better choice because I think Tommaso is more prone to grappling, whereas Dexter is slightly more prone to entertainment style.
Right.
Plus, Dexter's more of a puncher. And I feel like that kind of undersells anything he does, which I don't mean to do. But he's just more of like a brawler in a way than Tim is. So.
Yeah. But after that match, we have a little promo with Tommaso. I know he's asked about Timothy, but besides that, I don't remember what happened in this promo.
Quite literally, Mackenzie said, "Hey, Tommaso, what was up with that little?" Nope. Oh.
Okay.
I just killed a bug with my bare hands.
Nice.
I kind of feel bad about that.
No, don't. Pretend it's a mosquito.
Just saw it and I went, anyways, now that I just took a life, quite literally, Mackenzie goes up to him and is like, "Hey, what was that about?" And I was like, "Well, Mackenzie, I think he very specifically, I think you know what that was about." And so Tommaso makes it even more clear and says, "I want to fight Thatcher." And I said, "That's not his name." But okay. Moving on.
Also, Renee tweeted, "Now I can finally start telling you guys just how sore my boobs are." I love her.
So happy for you, Renee. Oh, I can't believe fucking John Moxley's about to raise a child. That's
horrifying. He's gonna raise like a Seth Rollins. Well,
to be fair, we're making a new Shield.
Then wait.
And it's a mixed Shield because Roman's got daughters. I don't know what Seth has created. John Moxley better. If he has a daughter, I'm gone. I'm out of here. Peace. I had a good run. That's probably gonna kill me.
But anyway, after that we have what was supposed to be a match between Damian and Bronson, ended up being Damian in the ring and then attacked by Johnny. They have a back and forth, basically a match. But then Leon Ruff comes out, attacks Damian and Johnny, in what I can only assume will lead to a triple threat at War Games for the North American title, which that sounds awesome.
Yeah. The more we see Leon Ruff, the angrier I get because I'm just like, how have you guys been using him as a jobber this whole time?
It's because he's so skinny. He doesn't look like a champion.
He's like good.
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole thing Undertaker was talking about pretty recently, where he's like, a lot of champions nowadays don't have like the champion's body. Like you look at Drew McIntyre, he very much has that champion's body. Roman has that champion's body. Rey Mysterio, not so much. AJ Styles, not so much. Jinder Mahal, yes. Brock Lesnar, yes. But also, it's like, are you really going to limit your champions to just massive buff dudes, not smart dudes? You know? it's something that is kind of a double-edged sword. Of course, you want like your champions to look amazing, but you also don't want to limit yourself. But yeah, so we have that whole mess in the ring. We end up not getting Damian versus Bronson, even though I kind of would have liked to see that. And then instead, after that, we got a promo with William Regal and Leon Ruff. Yeah.
Oh,
wait, no.
The promo after this, I think it's very important that we discuss all of the bizarre details, but please continue.
Oh no, I think we're on that promo because the Leon Ruff promo's after the one where William Regal goes to Boa's house.
So is William time traveling here? Did he go to somebody's house and then come back real quick just to talk to Leon?
No, because it had the little thing that said last night he went to Boa's house.
Oh, I'm a dumbass. There's so much that happened in this fucking promo that I'm like...
But William Regal goes to Boa's house, and Boa answers the door looking like shit, wearing a hood up and everything. And he says to Boa, Xia Li hasn't been there in like 2 weeks. Boa hasn't been there this week. What's going on? And then Boa's just very vague and just like, what does he say? Like he's coming or something like that?
I don't know what he said specifically on that end. I just know that he said, I can't, I'm sick. And Xia's in hiding.
Xia's in hiding.
Which, okay. A lot of things that we need to talk about here. First, William Regal making house calls. Very strange. Pretty sure he's got a phone. You probably could just call him. 2, Boa got a spray tan.
Yeah.
So in addition to the weird bruised eyes that he has now, because apparently he's been cursed, I assume, he also got a spray tan whilst being cursed, which, priorities. We all have them. 3rd, and the most important detail of all, is this house, or what looked like an apartment, that Boa supposedly lives in, doesn't have a doorbell, doesn't seem to have a little knocker. It has a master lock hooked to where the knocker on a door would be. And I can only assume that that is what is used to knock on Boa's door. Master lock.
But this promo makes me think that maybe, because what it seems like is somebody's coming to punish them. Like Xia Li was supposed to, I guess, put it in not the best way, bring honor to China or whatever. Her family, yeah. I wonder if there's like a great Chinese wrestler coming to WWE.
So, okay, that's what I was thinking too, because like I was like, oh well, curses and stuff like that. Maybe like this is like a weird carrying cross thing, but that doesn't make sense because like for this to be like all in the family, basically, it would make sense for it to involve carrying.
Mm-hmm.
But weirdly enough, this is one of the few like weird storylines, and like mind you, an exceedingly weird storyline, and very different from what we've seen with NXT, very different from what we've seen with anything else in WWE at this point. I haven't seen a single article speculating what is happening here.
Right. I think because things are so vague that you really can't.
But you would imagine that for there to be this discourse, for there to be Xia Li having this massive storyline all of a sudden after being kind of a middle card, if like catering wrestler at this point, all of a sudden have a massive storyline. Bo was involved somehow. And in addition to that, the thing is that the reason that rumors start is because a storyline starts in one division or in one brand.
Mm-hmm.
And then in another circuit, in another indie wrestling circuit or another professional wrestling circuit, somebody is leaving. And not that those storylines would connect in any way, but usually you can be like, oh, well, he's leaving this company, or it's rumored that he's leaving this company, so he's probably involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
There's been none of that. I don't know what is going on.
Also, real quick, the Shotzi Candice match will be like a team match because Shotzi posted the match card and said, "Team captain, who should I put in my tank?"
Oh, well, then it's going to be Shotzi,
Ember, Toni, and Rhea?
Maybe.
I'm maybe not...
They ended the Rhea EO feud tonight. That was very clear.
It might be EO. And the reason I actually don't think it's Rhea, which we'll get to during our next match. But after this bizarre promo, we have Leon, Ruff, and William Regal backstage. And William Regal's just like, what the hell did you do? What did you just do back there? And he's like, I'm tired. I'm tired of being called a joke. This is insane. I need to prove myself. So I'm going to take on both of them. And you know what? Fucking amazing. Amazing. And that's the end of that. And then we move on to Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai. Now, do you want me to save what I have to say or what I want to say till the end? Because it has to do with who wins.
Real quick, just to go back to Xia Li and Boa, I finally just looked it up. And a lot of people are saying the Mystic Asian trope feels a little
Mm-hmm.
But somebody said that there's a pic floating around of Xia working a dark match, which I forgot that we were going to have to look out for now. That there's live cards in NXT. There was a dark match at Halloween Havoc that Xia Li was doing, and she was dressed in different gear. She spent the time that the Performance Center classes were closed because of probably COVID, training at Breeze and Sean Spears' wrestling school. So people are wondering if they're going for a full revamp of her character while she's gone right now into something that could inevitably bring back someone else. Or potentially what I'm thinking now is maybe there isn't someone else. Maybe this someone else is whatever Xia Li becomes.
Maybe.
Maybe she'll come back like this fucking dark, scary force that's actually able to take on Raquel. Which would be a little confusing just because Xia Li is a very small person and Raquel is a very big person, but...
Yeah. I don't know. But anyway. The match.
Anyway.
So do you...
The match that... Oh, go on.
Do you want me to wait to say what I have to say till the end? Because it does have to do with who wins. Okay.
Right. This match annoyed me a little bit. And I don't know if I can actually be annoyed at the match more than I can be annoyed at Rhea. And even so, it's I'm not annoyed at Rhea. Why did I open a new goddamn salt? I'm not annoyed at Rhea more so than I'm just annoyed at everything. But anyways, Rhea pulls Io face first into the ground. Io goes to do something. I don't remember what it was, but Rhea caught her. Io realized she can't roll her up. There's a shoulder tackle to Io and a right hook to Rhea. Rhea got kicked out of the ring. She gets back up. She punches Io in the face through the ropes. This was when we cut to picture-in-picture commercial break. Because one thing I actually did not point out here was that after Rhea punched Io through the ropes, Rhea picked Io up and then slammed her chin first into the apron. So we go to the picture-in-picture break, and normally it starts pretty slow. Usually they start that picture-in-picture right after a big move. So they spend half of it with another wrestler recovering, so we're not really missing anything important. However, the entire break was spent with Io out of frame and Rhea just kind of vamping to the crowd. And I said, oh no, Io's dead. It turns out that there was definitely, because she actually had gotten back in and rolled over to the side where the timekeeper's area is. And I think they were checking out her jaw because she looked like she was futzing around with it too a lot afterwards. So
yeah.
Io, however, kind of gets her pound of flesh, starts punching Rhea. Rhea dodges Io, sending her double knees into the buckles. There's an inside cradle to Rhea, and then a massive flatliner to Io. An arm sub on Io. Io goes up to the top rope. Rhea mates her on the second one. Io slips out and under Rhea, punches her, and then doesn't punch her, sorry. Punches Rhea's hands into the buckles below before executing a German suplex. Then there's a Pano Sunrise and a double stomp to Rhea, and another drop kick. And at this point, Rhea Ripley is basically missing part of her ear. No clue how that happened. But she was bloody.
Yeah.
And not only that, but by the end of this match, her other ear was also bleeding. It's like,
I wonder.
Just don't wear your ear.
I wonder if it was when she had Io on her shoulders, slammed her down, maybe Io's leg pulled against her ear, pulled her piercings out.
It was, and I know you're saying that because after she slammed her on the apron, she like went like, oh.
Yeah.
Something went a little awry there on multiple accounts. But yeah, at this point, Rhea is basically missing part of her ear. There's a crossface on Io, but Io takes to hyperextending Rhea's arm, drop kicks Rhea. Rhea swings at Io, and Io wrenches the bad arm down on the ropes and then continues to attack it. Io then does the one move that always makes my like fucking jaw clench, which is Rhea was on the apron and Io pulled her arm under her, sending her down. I was like, a no? That's gonna be a no for me, dog. I don't want to see that. I would rather watch Shayna stomp somebody's elbow. Because like even just like pretending to do that for the effect actually kind of hurt my elbow a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyways, Io then shoves Rhea into the stairs later on. You can see a lovely little square gash on Rhea's arm. Io goes up to the top rope again. Rhea meets her on the second because, again, Rhea's about twice the size of Io. She doesn't need to go all the way up there. There's a superplex to Io, but like it's one of those things where it's like, doesn't that also hurt you, sweetheart? And there's a drop kick to Io. A cloverleaf submission hold on Io before spinning her around all on the bad arm and face planting her on the ground. She tries to manage the cloverleaf sub while sitting down. Io wriggles free. There's an attempt at a riptide, but it fails. Brings Rhea right down into an armbar. Rhea tries to lift Io for her lovely little like curling the person and spine bustering them down. She manages to kind of do a spine buster, but it's clearly not as strong as she wants it to be because Rhea also ends up in another armbar. Rhea manages to grab the rope. There are two failed 619s in honor of Rey Mysterio. It's funny because he failed to
Yeah, I got it. A little offensive, but I got it.
He's alive. It's not like you're making fun of a dead man or something. He's done enough of them. He can miss one. She manages one successful one. Then there's a missile drop kick to Rhea. And every time Rhea kicks out, I'm like, no, Rhea's going to win. Because Rhea's also been going so hard this entire time. No. There's double knees to Rhea, and then a moonsault that Rhea dodges. She clotheslines Io. Tries the riptide again, but it's countered with a DDT. And then over the moonsault. At this point, it is 10:01. But Rhea is pinned. Io retains her title. I said, haha, I am so sick and tired of this. But then they got out of the ring. And they hugged. And I said, I love. They were just like, it was really nice. Like, this was the perfect way, I think, to end a feud. Because, like, you could tell it was just two pals wrestling each other at the end of the day. And I was like, oh, you're both so talented. That's not fair. Save some for the rest of us.
Now, what I have to say, I think this match directly leads into Rhea Ripley going to the main roster. Because main roster moves normally happen after a star loses a title match. They get that big shot. They either transfer the title to someone else or let someone keep their title. And while they make the big move. And Rhea has been speculated for a while after comments that Shotzi's made, after comments that Rhea herself has made, that she might be going to the main roster. Which also explains why EO would be fitting into Shotzi's team at War Games rather than Rhea. So, yeah, I definitely think Rhea is going to be going there, which, if she shows up at, like, Survivor Series and wrecks shit, maybe she shows up at SmackDown and is, like, one of the last members of their women's team. Or she shows up right after, wrecks shit with Charlotte Flair. But she's coming back, too.
I mean, it's possible. However, I am also of the same mindset where I'm like, no.
I know. But I don't think Rhea is not really a person that they could really fuck up. You know? Her whole gear is based on her personality. They're not going to change her gear. They're not going to... I think she's going to be in the same pool with Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle was not changed since coming from NXT. He's pretty much stayed the same. It's just his booking has been a little off. Maybe Rhea's booking will be a little off, but after her feud with Charlotte Flair, I think that they know exactly where she stands. And if she came to the main roster, she would automatically be one of the A-listers.
May I just say something?
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I'm left sad that Sonya's not around right now.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be the sickest match in the damn world?
Or even Rhea and Sonya versus Dana and Mandy as an introduction to both Rhea coming to the main roster and Sonya being brought back.
I'm telling you right now. I have very strong opinions. I think my opinion for who I would want to win that match would be the strongest opinion I've ever had in the history of the world.
And then let me pitch you this WrestleMania match. There's two ways it could go.
Okay.
Rhea and Sonya versus Charlotte and Becky. Or Rhea and Charlotte versus Becky and Ronda.
I need to go lay down.
I think Rhea is a perfect fit for the main roster. I think she will immensely approve the women's roster there.
It's true.
But
It's true.
we do need to move on to the final promo today. And that's Finn Balor finally making his announcement. After it's already 10 o'clock, Finn enters the ring. He's got the belt, and he's like, I've been out broke my jaw, saving this title in 2 places. And he doesn't really say anything. Like, he doesn't make an announcement. And then the brand comes in, and they're talking shit. Pat's like, I've been running this show for the past few weeks while you've been gone. That title is not going to be yours for much longer. And then Finn makes a very weird analogy. He says, the mice will play when the cat's away. Thus implying Finn's a cat.
It gets better. It gets better. And I'll tell you why, but continue.
Yeah, so...
But then he says, and look what the cat dragged in. And thus...
Yeah, so... the brand starts getting on the ropes and everything and getting closer, and then the lights go out. And Undisputed Era come out. Teasing War Games. Finn's already out of the ring. He's gone.
Finn came to stir up trouble, and that is it.
And then, so Undisputed Era and the brand start brawling. Finn's just watching from the announce desk. I'm really curious to see where, if they're gonna do anything with the brand and Finn, because I thought they were gonna have Finn defend against Karrion. But I can see them doing like some stuff along the way to kind of give Finn some defenses and then have him lose it to Karrion, because we know for a fact Karrion's taking that shit back. But kind of weird that we never actually got like a legit announcement from him. I thought he was going to announce like, I'm dropping the title, or I'm announcing who I'm defending against next.
I think it was the most he could do right now while taking the attention off of him, because I don't think he's ready to come back and fight yet. I think it takes a little longer for a jaw to heal. But I think that this kind of was the best of both worlds in that case, because he's not ready to fight, but he's not being forced to give up the title.
Right.
So.
Also, Oni Lorcan tweeted, I hate the Undisputed Era.
Well, then on that note, Finn Balor tweeted this less than flattering image of himself. And said,
Wait. Show that back. It looks like Tommaso.
I know. And he said, it's easy for the mice to dance when the cat's away, which is not the saying. The cat is back. # meow.
# meow.
I can't stand this man. I can't. I love him so much.
I do want to add something that we did forget to mention, and that's next week Kevin Owens will be commentating in place of Wade Barrett.
That better mean that Wade Barrett's going to be fighting the place of Kevin Owens.
I hope so, but I hope he's at least fighting on NXT. Fighting just Austin Theory.
So in addition to me telling you that Roderick Strong posted that video of, I can't wait to watch this later, but this video of the idiots talking shit, saying, fellas, let's go to war. Bobby Fish, in his infinite wisdom, again, further proving my point that I don't know if he really has a full brain, just retweeted and said in all caps, war. That's it. That's it, baby. Just war.
I swear, the cold from upstate New York has, like, frozen his brain or something, because it seems like it doesn't work.
Also, there's a lot of, like, government stuff.
Yeah. All that patriarchy.
The Hudson River is so poisonous. I'm sure that he's probably inhaled some of that at some point in his life.
Yeah.
All the apples. Too many apples up there.
Fell on his head. Johnny Appleseed.
You're not a New Yorker if one of those apples hasn't fallen on your head.
All right, so moving on to best of the night. I'm tired of talking about Bobby Fish.
I'm not.
Robert Fish, as they called him.
How dare you?
All right, so you want to put up the best of the night sign?
I stole the job, huh?
Yeah.
interesting how that works. What?
Yep.
But I'm having a really good name today. I just want you to know that. I'm having a really good name.
Welcome, Buns Glazing. You joined just in time for the best of the night.
And just in time for me to lose one of my signs. Oops.
Oh no.
Yeah. Not signs. One of my little
Stickers.
tabs.
Yeah. No,
Stickers.
keep it tilted. Yeah, I think it's fitting. There we go. Perfect. All right. So, promo of the night. We started off with Cameron Grimes talking to himself. Cameron. It's fun in the most minimal way. We had the Damian Priest and William Regal promo, which was good. I like that because we saw a little bit of Leon kind of set up. We're starting to see this new side of Damian. Are you fucking kidding me? Nobody in the audience can hear it, so. Damian's showing this new side where he's like a smart face, and I really like it. And this promo was part of a great set of promos. Then we had the Shotzi vignette, which was a very well shot promo of her fixing up her tank, or rather building a new one, and sort of challenging Candice as well, and announcing War Games. I loved this. It was like so short and so minimal, but I loved it. It was well shot. It had Shotzi looking great. And we got a huge announcement. Loved it. After that we had promo with Ember and Toni. And then after that we had a promo with Tommaso where he doesn't say anything. Thatcher. We had Damian, who was supposed to be fighting Bronson, being attacked by Johnny, and then both of them being attacked by Leon Ruff. This was good. Wish we actually got that match, though. That would have made this promo a little more worth it. But I think the promo later on makes it a little more worth it. But right after that, we have William Regal showing up to Boa's house, and Boa looking like a crack dealer.
Yeah.
And more vagueness, not much coolness as the last one, but this one is very vague. Showing the cat. Oh,
Yeah.
She wants food, and she's down.
Aw, you not gonna come back up again?
No, she's not a circus monkey. She doesn't dance in front of the camera. When I hold up that when I hold up that Meow Talk app to her, or just like hold my phone out so it could hear her meow, that's when she suddenly just doesn't want to meow anymore.
Well, she doesn't like phones. She doesn't like cameras. I don't know what it is about her, but she senses technology and she's like...
She's like a magnet.
She's Amish.
Oh, yeah, she is.
She's an Amish cat. That's that devil magic.
But after Boa's house, we move on to a promo with Leon Ruff and William Regal, where Regal is asking Leon Ruff what the fuck happened. And this is where we start to see a transformation in Leon. He's becoming more of a champion, more of not a hothead, but more emotional, giving us an actual personality for him. And it's great. I love this. This is everything I could have wanted from bringing Leon in. And I think they're handling him being a part of this roster in the best way possible. After that, we had Finn making his announcement, being approached by the brand, and Undisputed Era coming in. Would have liked an actual announcement, because they kind of teased it as Finn will announce the what's happening next with the NXT Championship. I made a whole big thing about it. If it was just Finn Balor's returning.
No, they just said that Finn's going to talk tonight. We assumed that was going to be about the championship.
No, I could have sworn I heard I saw like tweets saying like Finn's gonna say like what happens with the NXT championship.
No, anything I've ever seen was just Finn Balor's gonna be on tonight. That's it.
Yeah. But I mean, regardless, I like that we got Undisputed Era back, and we were seeing the feud against the brand. I just want to know how Finn fits in that picture. I hope he doesn't, and he kind of does his own thing. But it would also be nice to see Finn and Adam fighting together. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But
Did we get that before? I can't remember. I know that Finn turned on Johnny.
I don't think so. I don't think we had them fighting alongside each other since like Bullet Club.
When Finn turned on Johnny, what happened? I know that he like Pele kicked him.
It was because Tommaso was there. I remember the clip. I think Finn was a part of DIY maybe, or was just aligned with them. I think they were having a face-off against Undisputed Era. And yeah, Finn Pele kicked Johnny.
Yeah, okay. Johnny. Oh no. I don't know.
But going back to promo of the night, I don't think you'll agree, but it was my most enjoyable promo. It got me the most excited, and that was the announcement of War Games with Shotzi.
I don't agree.
Are you gonna say Finn coming back?
Yeah. I liked it. I didn't think that he had to specifically say what was happening with the title there because it was pretty obvious what's happening with the title there. Someone over on the brand is going to try to get it, but first, now we have our 4-on-4 War Games teams set up.
Let it be known.
And that's really exciting. What I've been looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. Let it be known, everyone. Liz loves Pat McAfee. Every time Pat McAfee's on, you give him promo of the night. What happened to you?
You know what, Marcus?
What?
Continue.
Alright, well, I'll agree with you because it was a good promo. It was my own expectations that got in the way. So I also think it was partially what you were saying that made me think Finn was going to announce something with the title because you kept speculating that he was going to drop the title, just like Karrion did. The cat going to the bathroom. Okay.
You know what? I'm recording right now. Does that mean nothing to you?
Go number 1 or number 2?
It doesn't. It means nothing. You're just peeing. Just having a little pee. Number 2 or 3 of the day, which is stressful.
2.
Sorry about being a cat owner. Now I have to modulate the goddamn animals. Yep. You're burying that pee spot. You're doing the most.
Your mouth is like absolutely right in your mic right now.
Is it?
Please stop. Please stop. There's people watching.
Do you not like to say ASMR?
It is very loud.
I don't like Pat McAfee. I don't like him at all. In fact, the whole brand thing, I don't hate the brand. I really don't. In fact, I've been actually kind of enjoying it for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I hate about the brand is literally Pat McAfee.
But
and I've been trying to do what I normally do with heels, where I hate them and then all of a sudden, like one day later, I love them. I've been doing my best on that. But I need like a degree of believability to heels. Pat McAfee being like, well, you were home nursing a broken jaw, and I'm all that in a bag of chips, and so is my team here. And it's like, Finn was on the main roster. Finn's done a lot more than like your tiny little ass has ever done, be it between wrestling and football. He has achieved much more than you ever have. And it's hard for me to like separate. I don't like him.
If it's hard for you to separate, why do you keep giving him promo of the night?
I'm giving Finn an Undisputed Era promo of the night, Marcus.
At least Pat wears a mask, and he always brings it into the ring.
Pat wears a neck gaiter around his neck, which is significantly worse than not wearing a mask half the time, apparently.
No, that is better than Danny Burch just straight up not wearing anything.
So what is the point of wearing a mask if you take it down once Danny Burch is within 5 inches of your face? One way or another, you're getting the COVID, and you're spreading the COVID.
I'm sure if they all had a choice, they would be wearing masks during promos.
Make Pat McAfee make Danny Burch wear a mask, and then I'll like him. Challenge.
I think you should
This is a Pat McAfee challenge.
I think you should just stop watching NXT. Because Pat runs the show.
I'm gonna stop watching something.
What's that?
You!
Rude.
Yeah, well, I thought we were friends, so I guess we aren't.
Okay. Alright, so Wrestler of the Night.
I guess. If I'm even allowed to judge one.
So No. Just let me. I swear to God. I swear to God. We start off with Leon Ruff versus Johnny Gargano. Stop that giggling right now. It will meet you. Alright, so we start off with Leon Ruff versus Johnny Gargano. Leon's my pick. Okay, I'm serious. I muted you on the stream, but now I'm going to mute you in my headphones. Okay, there we go. Now it's peaceful. Now it's quiet. No more disturbances. Alright, so Leon Ruff was objectively the best wrestler here. Johnny's good. Johnny had that great DDT at the end. But I think Leon really pulled out all the stops and was like just out of control. Okay, now I just want to like leave the call because I just see you smirking the whole time. I can hear you giggling through the wall. Like, I can't mute you at all. I constantly hear you. I guess I'll unmute you. Alright. So yeah, Leon Ruff, best wrestler here. I mean, he even improved on his improvements from last time, or his performance from last time. He looks like a champion. He might not have the build of a champion, but he has the skills for it, and he's incredible at wrestling. Like, there's never been a jobber as good as him. He's the best jobber, I guess. Him and Kacy Catanzaro, I think, are the two best.
I feel like Kacy steps a little bit above just like a jobber, though.
Yeah, at least her walkout song is on Spotify, whereas Timothy Thatcher's is not. Yeah, I know. This whole show's fucking falling apart. Anyway.
Yeah, the cat walked under the freaking. I think it was actually her tail wrapped around it, like a little lemur.
Well, you get your shit together. I'm gonna continue.
I should this together.
So we have Cameron Grimes versus Dexter Lumis. My pick here is actually Cameron Grimes. Dexter, all right. Let me argue this first. Dexter did not do much. Dexter didn't have to do much. He stood in one place, threw a couple punches, and when the mask was off, he looked angry. Cameron Grimes had to sell a whole comedy bit for the whole match because that's all it was. It was just a comedy bit. It wasn't really a match. And if it was, Dexter would be on top because he has the better wrestling skills. But Cameron has the better comedy chops. He's very Abbott and Costello.
I'll give you that.
This match was just him, goofing off. I loved it. I loved how Cameron Grimes was. I think that this was made for him. Everything from like the argument in the beginning to completely decking the ref. The one thing I didn't like about it, and I guess this goes into Cameron Grimes, is that Cameron Grimes, after knocking the ref, just took off his mask, or took off Blindfold. Like, it's a blindfold match. You know to keep it on until the bell rings. But anyway, Cameron Grimes was still hilarious. I loved him. But it wasn't much wrestling. And then we move on to Candice and Indi versus Kacy and Kayden. And who else am I going to give it to besides Kacy? Kacy's incredible. I don't know why she's just a jobber right now. She should be a lot more with the skills she has. And it's not like her physique makes her look any worse, like Leon. Because I feel like her physique is what makes her great. What makes her very agile and nimble. She's always amazing in every single match that she's in. And she's no different here. I just think they gotta give her some storyline where she can build a persona from it. Because right now she doesn't have much. And it's not her fault. Her and Kayden both suffer from like the same thing, and it's purely because of how they're booked right now. They're just jobbers. That's it.
I also think it's just, I don't know if there's enough room right now for them to have a storyline.
Right. But also there's room for Zaya to have a storyline.
Let's not talk about that. I literally thought about that as I was saying that. I was like, oh, well, okay.
And August Gray.
I don't know what goes through Triple H's head, but like,
Stephanie
maybe
McMahon.
That's it? That's all that goes through his head?
Yeah.
That way he has Sean and William actually running the company?
Well, no, Velveteen Dream runs the company. That's why he's not fired.
Can I also mention, I think this is the first night that we have not seen Velveteen in a while.
Yeah.
So, we traded one horrible human being for another, I guess.
Who's the horrible human being that we traded for?
Eric Wirtz.
Oh. I thought you were talking about Pat McAfee.
No, Pat McAfee has had, at least I only hate him for his character. As a human being, he has not done anything yet for me to actually have a bona fide reason to hate him, and I appreciate that much.
I mean, if you're good friends with Adam Cole, like Austin Jenkins.
But Adam Cole is good friends with Bobby Fish, so I don't know what to believe anymore.
I mean, look, okay. Bobby Fish, most likely, is just a moron. Just incredibly naive.
Just want him to be naive. My fingers are crossed.
And
he has 2 daughters.
That's one thing.
Proud Boys clan.
That's one thing you can say about most people in these situations that fall for these like QAnon shit. They're mostly just naive morons.
Well, and in that, again, like, not to detract from what we're actually trying to talk about, because I do want to finish the episode before 1 a.m. But one thing that's kind of important to note, and the whole problem that people have with everything that's been going on, is that a lot of these people don't really know what they're getting themselves into. It just takes people as charismatic as Drake Wirtz might be to bring them in.
Right.
Like, yeah, we're saving children from pedophilia because all the politicians are pedophiles. And they're like, well, shit, that sounds like a good fucking deal. All right, sign me up.
And then they
We don't
whisper,
like pedophiles in this house.
they whisper behind their backs, except the Republican ones.
Lindsey Graham is fine.
All right, so moving on from that.
Love the gentle shudder.
After the women's tag match, we move on to Arturo Ruas versus Kushida. And Kushida's incredible. Always, constantly. Never isn't amazing. I mean, he's constantly innovating his style. And how he ended the match today is just proof of that. He's constantly evolving and getting better. And that's one thing I love about a lot of NXT wrestlers is they just keep building and building on themselves without sacrificing any kind of personality or story elements. They make everything work.
In case you're wondering, by the way, the cat's getting impatient.
Oh, of course.
She's walked in and out of this room like 4 times now.
After that, we had Dakota and Raquel versus Ember and Toni. I picked Ember, even though I said how disappointed I am with her. She's still like the best of this squad, but she's still not great. I don't trust how hard she's hitting those drop kicks, because she seems like she's just not pulling and just straight up drop kicking these ladies in the face.
Yeah, it does stress me out a little bit.
And it felt especially.
There's an easy way to pull a punch.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, that's like the thing is like with Dexter, it's like he's punching camera, but I know he's not punching camera because there's an easy way to pull a punch and there's an obvious way to actually punch somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Drop kicks are like a little more like there's a lot of other things going on involved in a drop kick, but it's like
right.
Pull the brakes.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's still the best of the match just because she is good. She makes hits seem impactful, even though they're probably just real hits. But after that, we have Timothy Thatcher versus August Gray. I mean, Timothy Thatcher. After that, we had Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai in the main event. Yeah, I'm picking Io. I'm picking Io for this match.
It's homophobic.
Rhea's not even gay. She has a boyfriend.
Fight against me. Also.
Okay, all right.
Don't nix my hopes this early on in the day.
But I mean, I gotta pick Io. Hello, Harry. Welcome to the stream.
Hi, Harry.
Yeah, no, I'm picking Io for this match. She was just incredible. Even after we were so far into the match, she was just still she had so much momentum and kept flying through everything. After early on, smacked her jaw against the edge of the ring. She just kept coming back, and I mean, just her fighting style alone is super impressive, and the way she counters off of Rhea, and like she has kind of a very similar thing to Kacy, just to a lesser extent, with how she wrestles and her tributes to Rey Mysterio too, and her 619s. I think she has a lot more variety than somebody like Rhea. Not to completely discount Rhea. I love her and everything she does. But out of these two, I definitely need to go with Io. And my pick for Wrestler of the Night, it's tough. I'm torn between two, but it really is tough. I think just because of the match to go along with it, I'm going to go with Io.
I just don't get how you can say that after all of like the effort that Rhea put in, all of the heart, how much she sold everything she did, all of the emotion that she put in, whether or not she actually hurt her arm or not, I believed every second of it.
Well,
I believed every second of it. And the fact that she was bleeding from both of her ears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, don't wear piercings to a wrestling match, fine. But still, it's like, to fight through that, whatever happened there, I can't not choose Rhea.
Oh.
It was such an intense match, and it would not have been that intense if it were not for Rhea.
Well, look,
if it were somebody else, it would have been.
You've said it before many times that selling well does not make a good wrestler.
Well, no, I'm also saying that she had amazing moves tonight. I mean, the fact that she had whatever happened to her arm, and I mean, regardless of whether or not her arm is actually injured, whatever Io did to her looked like it would have hurt one way or the other. For her to still attempt to curl Io while she's like clinging to her arm in a pseudo armbar and just swing her around. Yeah, we didn't get a riptide, but like Rhea fought through it and looked just as good with twice the battle wounds. And yeah, Io looked amazing. She looked graceful. She looked perfect. But I don't know. That just doesn't interest me. What interests me is a bitch looking like she worked hard.
Io looked like she worked hard too. Just because she wasn't screaming at the top of her lungs after her piercing got pulled out.
I'd like you to have a piercing pulled out of your ear and you tell me how you feel.
Okay, but it's easy to have a piercing pulled out of your body.
No, it is not. As somebody who has worn multiple masks with multiple pairs of earrings, it is not easy to have your earrings just pulled out of your head.
But we know she intentionally do that.
Well, I would hope that nobody would intentionally cause themselves that much damage, but
what I'm saying is her earrings getting pulled out should not be attributed to her being the best wrestler of the night.
I don't know. I can't go with Io. Io's a good wrestler, but Io's the same wrestler we see every time. Maria's always just like it's like watching a new episode of a show or something. I'm sorry, I don't agree with you.
You're choosing you're choosing Rhea for the same reasons I've chosen Dolph in the past, and you've argued against the same opinions you're giving me.
Because half the time you choose Dolph, it's against Drew, and Drew always looks like a better wrestler. Those were the main times that you've ever chosen Dolph.
And Io looked like the better wrestler than Rhea today.
It didn't connect with me. I'm sorry. I'm not turning around on this.
I know you're not, because I'm always the one who switches around.
No one says you have to.
But I will, purely because of when Rhea felt her bleeding ear and just went with it and painted under her eyes after that.
She had no right to do that. I sat back and I said, that shouldn't be one of my kinks, and yet, here we are.
That's gross.
Okay, not that exactly. It's just... Did you not shame me on like a semi-hourly basis? Is that in your DNA?
That's what this podcast is for, so I can shame you. So we can shame each other. Alright, but we're going with Rhea Ripley for Wrestler of the Night. And now, Match of the Night. I don't think there's any contest here, although it is close. We start off with Leon Ruff versus Johnny Gargano. A great match to start us off, although it did end with a bit of a interference.
Leon Ruff.
What'd I say?
Rush.
Oh, Leon Ruff. Leo Rush. Um, I liked how this ended, despite it being an interference, because it leads into a greater storyline, and Damien looking at Leon and being like, sorry kid, and just decking him in the face. That was great. I love that. And it's making me love Damien even more, because he's now like, he has a lot of personality. He's not just edgy boy with the arrow move.
Yeah.
And Johnny's like kind of doubling down on this whole face persona, or this whole heel persona.
It's sort of similar to like how we had problems with Nia Jax, and now we have problems with her again, but different story. But because she had like a very flat personality, that wasn't a personality that we could really get behind. And then all of a sudden she started having like moments where we were like, oh, you're a person. Oh, shit. And now Damien's doing the same shit. And I'm like, oh, I see it now. You have a pulse. You're human. Interesting. Curious.
Yeah. I think it all stemmed from when Damien he had his first defense of the North American title against Timothy Thatcher. That was the point where Damien started to evolve. And I guess the North American title can do that to a lot of people, as we're seeing with Leon Ruff too. But moving on from that, we had Candice and Indi versus Kacy and Kayden. And this was a okay match. I don't like how it ended. I think Kacy and Kayden, based on how the match was going, should have won. The ending kind of just came out of nowhere. If anything, this helps sell why Kacy and Kayden are so fucked over, rather than why Candice and Indi are like tricky, I guess. I don't know. But what else do we have? After that we had before that we had Cameron Grimes versus Dexter Lumis. Which was a great match. I loved how it was going, but I wish it had an ending. It didn't end. Nobody won. Nobody lost. Cameron Grimes just ran away.
I'm excited for this match.
Yeah, me too. And at least with Halloween Havoc, when they had that haunted house match, at least they Cameron Grimes ran away, but they had an ending elsewhere. They could have at least done that today, but they didn't. We were just kind of left in the open. But after that, we had Arturo Ruas versus Kushida. This is a surprisingly great match. I really liked this. It's just a raw wrestling match. And a surprisingly great showing from Arturo. And yeah, this was great. I really enjoyed this. After that, we had Dakota and Raquel versus Ember and Toni. I don't know. I don't like Ember and Toni together. I don't think that's a combo that really meshes. I'm not sold on Toni. I'm disappointed by Ember. Dakota and Raquel, I still like. I think in this situation, they didn't belong. Just because it very much feels like they're kind of the protagonists in their stories, but we didn't get that here. They were kind of just, we're your opponents, you know?
Yeah.
But after that, we had Timothy Thatcher versus August Gray. A good match. I enjoyed this a lot. I think August did a really good job, besides the no-sell towards the beginning. And then the ending with Tommaso was a great takeoff point for this. This had everything. It really did. And then finally, after that, we had Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai in a match that could fit a pay-per-view. This was a hell of a match. It was bloody. It was intense. It was emotional. I loved it. this match was beautiful. It was the perfect thing. It wasn't even the ending. It should have been. But instead we got the brand and the boys. And broken jaw Finn. But yeah, this match was incredible. Io looked great. Rhea looked great. If this is really what's leading Rhea into the main roster, then perfect. I wouldn't want anything else. Besides maybe her WrestleMania match against Charlotte. So my pick for match of the night is, it's close between Leon Ruff and Johnny and Rhea and Io, but I'm gonna go with Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai.
Yeah, I totally agree. Especially because this is like, not only was it a really good match, for reasons that we already stated, but also the fact that this was another example of what I really like about NXT and their storylines.
Mm-hmm.
In that, right around TakeOver in your house, we got the whole Rhea Ripley interfering with Io's match with Charlotte, their friendship falling apart. It was a whole big deal. And that's why we had the In Your House match.
Mm-hmm.
And then that feud kind of died out once Io became the champion. She didn't have time to deal with Rhea being pissy, and Rhea started having other things coming. So we didn't really see any closure on that. And I really liked that we finally, not only we got that closure, like they made time for this. They did not forget it. But they didn't also have 41 promos of Rhea being like, well, I'm coming for that title or anything like that. I was like, we have time right now. Hey, Rhea, let's do this. And then at the end of that, like there was no, like, it didn't feel like a horse with a carrot on a stick. Like Rhea and Io hugged.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was like, okay, we're done.
It was like, it was very much like Finn and Kyle as far as the lead-in went. And although the ending for Finn and Kyle was a bit hokey, it still had that same amount of respect between them.
And just like, all right, well, match is over. How you doing? I really like that. I felt like we got a succinct ending. I don't feel like we're gonna have like, oh, Rhea and Io are still long torn apart enemies and stuff like that. It's like, which actually does also lend room for the potential for Rhea to be moving up. Because of that just simple ending. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see come next Wednesday. But yeah, I really like this match. I thought it was really good. And again, it's typical NXT women's fights where it's like, holy shit. What are you guys doing right that the main roster is doing wrong? I need to know.
Variety. And even like other promotions like AEW and Impact don't have this level of women's wrestling.
No, they don't. This is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And it does not seem like it's going away anytime soon. Because the young talent is just as intense as the more seasoned talent. So it's like, it's not even like they got a good batch at some point or something like that. It's like, no, you're doing something right. That's it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So, someone down in the ranks is doing something correctly. So.
But to run it back, our promo of the night, Finn returns. Our wrestler of the night, Rhea Ripley. And our match of the night, Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai.
Nice. All right, this podcast only took 400 hours.
2.5 hours. For NXT.
I know. We've gone longer with NXT, I think. Well, if you tuned in tonight, thank you so much for tuning in. I like to shout people out in the marks, like, what about the other people? And then I'm like, oh, you didn't tell me about the other people. So thank you, Buns Glazing, for tuning in. Thank you, Harry, for tuning in. And thank you, everyone else who tuned in tonight. And if you're tuning in the future, thanks for tuning in. Maybe you're watching around Thanksgiving.
Don't tune in.
maybe tune in. Also, don't go and have Thanksgiving with your family. My God. We only have so many viewers. We don't want you dying.
Harry said he won't watch anymore.
Harry! I let you sleep on my futon, dude. But yeah, so thank you for tuning in, whether it's now, whether it's in the future, whether it's in the past. I don't know how time works. It's an infinite loop. Tune in on Friday for what the hell? Survivor Series predictions.
Yes.
And also a SmackDown post show, which is very much not the main event of the night.
You will not. You will not want to miss both the predictions for Survivor Series on this Friday and Survivor Series podcast itself, because with our predictions, for every incorrect prediction, we have to finish 1 can of hard seltzer before the podcast is over. So if we get 5 predictions wrong, we have to finish 5 cans of seltzer in probably like 2.5 hours-ish. A lot of fun.
I can actually go hard this time because right now, knock on fake wood, my next week is actually really slow because I'm taking Wednesday off for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually can drink like a champ.
And I'm not working Monday either.
Woo! I mean, I'm working Monday, but I don't have anything planned. So yay. But yeah, please tune in Friday. We will have our prediction show. And also 5 weeks from now, Mark, 5 weeks. Have you ever wanted to make plans on a December 19th on a Saturday at, 7 or 8 p.m. at night? I don't know.
Yeah, I want to hang out with friends.
Oh, well, tough titties. Because it's the Mike Romies, baby! Woo! This is going to be our awards show that we decided to make about 4 weeks into having this podcast. Because I love Mike Rome, and what better than to give a statue of Mike Rome to my favorite things.
And celebrate the WWE more than Donald Trump celebrates the WWE.
Yeah, we're going to celebrate it correctly by calling them out on their goddamn faults. It's going to be really fun. We're going to make it a really fun little time. It's going to be stupid. It's going to be great. But yeah, so keep that in mind. Mark that in your calendars. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I really shower. It's disgusting.
Cool. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, hit the follow button. You'll be notified whenever we go live, as well as, stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. What are you doing? Why would you not subscribe if you're into this podcast? Because you'll know whenever we put out a new one. And watch the live show, please. And if you're watching on the live stream with us right now, if you missed part of this podcast, want to check out previous ones, our YouTube is the Pinfall Podcast. We have all of our podcasts archived there for your enjoyment. And follow us on Twitter at Pinfall Podcast. I always forget that we have a new one. Remove the, and that's a Twitter. And there you can see us post whenever we go live, as well as our picks for Wrestler and Match of the Night. And we make hilarious and raunchy hot takes for live tweeting episodes or pay-per-views, all that stuff. And occasionally we like to interact with you guys, so in any way we can do that. And follow our personal Twitters as well. I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine 23. And follow my personal Twitch too, twitch.tv/Mark Cameron. And thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you, Harry. Thank you for the follow.
Oh, wow, Harry. Thanks for following us.
No, I think the Twitter. You just followed.
Harry, thank you for following our Twitter. I make funny jokes on there sometimes. Most of the snarky tweets promoting the podcast are by me.
Liz yells at all the racist people in WWE.
I think I'm doing a good job. Like Hannibal Buress on the New Year's Eve Eric Andre show.
Andre the Giant show.
Andre the Giant show.
Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on Friday for not SummerSlam.
Well, they won't be seeing us on Friday for SummerSlam or Survivor Series. They'll be seeing us for SmackDown.
No, Survivor Series predictions is what I meant to say. And SmackDown.
Vibes.
All right.
Vibes.
Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you on Friday.